I've got the big lemon quartz on the top. I preformed it a little teeny bit. You know, I normally don't mean preform, but we got it at 42. And this is another flaw with the Ultratech. See how this? Every time it's different. And I'm sure I could reset it. Just too lazy, probably. Anyway, it was set at 42 when I started, so we're gonna keep that angle all the way through. But if you wanted to, you could sit here and change it. Hey, I got it right. And then all of a sudden, you don't have it right. See what I'm saying? So maybe I had it right in the first place. But anyway, it's close enough. It's more accurate than anything else. So here we go. Who doesn't preform their stones and just slaps them on the top? Let me know in the comments if you do this or you actually preform them. I did a little teeny bits on the side, on the corners. It's got to be at 42 degrees, so we'll see. We'll show you what's going on here. There's an inclusion at the top, a crack or something. We've got to cut through that still. It's like the first millimeter. And then after that, the problems are okay, after that, the problems are, see the cracks in the bottom there, like 7 o'clock? They're on the outside, so they might get chopped off of the girdle. And the lower on the stone we go, the bigger it's gonna be, because right now it's too deep. We got too much depth. And let me show you the cut we're doing. Okay, so this is supposed to be a very reflective stone here. It's a little blurry, the actual copy. But it's got a brilliant bottom, some type of triangle top, and it's a rectangle, and our stone's a rectangle, and it's very, very deep. That's why I picked it. So it's like the perfect stone and the perfect cut for the stone. And you see how deep that is? This is a lemon quartz, but it's kind of greenish. It's kind of like lime green. It's pretty cool. And it's massive. So it probably will end up being like 30 or 40 carats when it's done. And when you have a stone that big, you can make a cocktail ring. So basically it's just a bling ring you can show off to your friends and just basically put your bling in their face with your huge ring. But that's the only thing it's really good for. So that's what we're doing. We're making somebody some bling. We have cut through the crack and inclusion on the tip of the pavilion, and we are working our way down. Not seeing any real bad issues. I might have it doffed a little bit off, so we'll probably lose about 5 carats because of that. But this is yellow quartz, so it's not a huge deal. All right, let's keep going. Let's polish it up, and I'll show you what it looks like after we get this polished. We've got the pavilion polished to 60,000 grit on our first set of facets. There are many more to go, which will cover up most of this, but look inside that stone, completely clear. There is a set of inclusions there. There's not scratches going across there, right? There, going across underneath, there's some inclusions. Right there. Other than that, this thing is clean inside. And a really cool, like lime green, yellow color. All right, so the next set of facets, we did the P1, we got to do the girdle, and then there's a second girdle. So this is what we're working on over here. So we've got a lot more facets to cut in. Basically what we cut are these here, these big ones. And then these ones will cut into it all. All right, let's get this girdle going. And yeah, you're gonna get wet. We've been grinding with 180 grit and we're almost ready. These are the 8 facets, and you can see at the top of these 2, we've got to go a little farther in. Unfortunately, there's an indentation there. So I probably dopped it slightly off. We'll go around one more time, and then we can bring it down to 600 grit. We've got our girdle polished to 8,000 grit, but you can see these wispy clouds inside going diagonal. And we still have 2 facets that have not been cut at all. All right, and there's this wispy clouds again. And the unfaceted other side. So this side and that side. And so basically on the diagram, these sides are going to be longer and flat, so we have to cut those in. And so it's in the 96 and the 48. It's going to create a flat side where the other side's around. All right, the next one says 65 degrees and level girdle. So we're talking about this little indentation right here. And so that's what we're going to do. And we're at 65. Those are the facets we're cutting in at 65 degrees up there. There's one, and there's the other one. And we still have some polishing to do. Obviously that's not good enough. We don't need to polish the whole facet because that is the girdle, but just the top. So you can see it started at 8,000, but it's kind of not enough. So we'll come back and do that at 8,000 so it matches that polish there on the sides. Got the 65 degrees polished to 60,000. And you can see a flaw right there in that corner. That's the original rough that did not get cut with a girdle on the left side. So the girdle would have to come in farther and recut. And we still need to polish the girdle, at least the top part. But we have to cut in these little stars here. There's 10 of them. So we'll do that first. And they are at 41 degrees. And the first one is at 12 on the dial. It's the P3. We've cut in those 10 facets in on the Pavilion and polished them with 60,000 grit. But because this is lemon quartz, it needs to be polished with selenium oxide. You'll see small scratches on there. So we'll clean this up and we'll probably polish the girdle once we flip the stone over, because there's not going to be much left once we set up the crown. So there's no reason to polish all of that. We'll go ahead and cut the crown, and then we'll polish these sides again. So let's put it in a dop transfer, and we'll see you in the morning. And we're using super glue as usual, because we're really not going to make a huge mess with all the wax. All right, see that thing's almost full? Now, come up here. Oh yeah, right there. See it going in? There you go. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, so we're going to the crown now, but the problem is this crown is very small. And we don't need all that crown. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it off. By cutting it off, we can make another jewel out of the other piece, right? So reason to grind this down to nothing. So at this point, since our girdle is so huge, we're gonna go ahead and cut it on the wet saw. So using the high tech, it's a little one, 4 inches, and we're just gonna cut this off. just like that. Now it's more manageable. It'll happen a lot faster. On the diagram, we're at 40 degrees, 96, and 48. I know it's a little blurry here, but I'm gonna tell you what it is. We're setting the girdle width. So you can see where we cut it with the black marker, and we have plenty of room for our crown. I cut on that side of the line, so I have plenty of room. Now we're gonna cut in the girdle width with 600. We may have to go to 180 grit. It might take too long, we'll see. All right, we use the 180 grit when we ain't got time, okay? So if you're using 600, it's taking forever, and you ain't got time, cause watch it eat through this thing. See it counting down? So it's gonna count down to 40 degrees, and it'll be done. When you use the 180 grit, you have to leave some extra space to get those scratches out. So we're gonna use the 600 after the 180 to get these scratches out. They're very deep. So we're gonna bring that girdle down some more, okay? Don't go to the edge and think that you're gonna polish it out, because you're not. We've got the first set of facets polished at 60,000 grit. And you can control what part of the facet you polish with that knob behind the stone. By going up to the left, you'll polish toward the tip. And then if you go down and turn it to the, away from the, turn to the right, it'll polish near the girdle. So if you were to see these closely, you'd see that the very bottoms of the facets are polished, but the top is not. See, the top has scratches on it, and the bottom does not. That knob behind the stone controls that, what part of the facet you want to polish. All right, and the reason we're not polishing the top is because we've got to cut in these 3 facets over. It's the only thing we're going to keep at the end is the very bottom. So that's why we focused on just the bottom. So we have to cut these 3 in as well. And now we're gonna cut in the side facets over here as well to create a level girdle. So we're gonna go to 35 degrees and cut in these 8 right here. You can see these facets being cut in and they're not polished versus the ones that are polished. So let's get these polished down to 60,000 grit and we'll show you. Our C2 facets are almost done. They're at 60,000 grit. You can see right through the stone now. And then again, there's the top part that's not polished. Still a couple more facets to go, which will eliminate that. And our next set of facets, we have a C3 here, and that is right there. We're going to cut these 2 on either side. And we have this one here. And then we have our table. So this is what's left. The C3, the C4, the C5, and the table. These are our C3 facets, and the idea is to get them down to the girdle, but you don't want to do that with 1200 grit. You want to bring it in with 8000. So we're going to jump straight from 1200 to 8000 to get it right down to the girdle, and then polish it with 60,000. And the same with this side. There's 2 facets here we're doing. And on our diagram, it's a C2. It's this one and that one. These 2 on either side of the stone. We've got the facets polished to 60,000 grit. You can see there, 1, 2. And The top of our other facets are not so polished. You see they're kind of hazy up there because the table is going to cut them out. And now we have 4 facets to go, 2 here and 2 over here. And those are right here. So we'll be cutting in this one and this one on either side, C4. So on these small facets, cut them in slow, and I'm using 1200 grit. I'm just gonna take little swipes like this and check it, and then I'll finish it up with the 8000 grit. Just keep checking it. And you can see it there coming down. And it's got to go all the way to the girdle. But we're going to stop about 1 millimeter before that girdle and finish it off with 8000. Okay, we've got these 4 facets cut in. And now you see why I didn't need to polish the top of the previous facet, as it got eliminated. The next one will be the C5, which will even out this table as it cuts a triangle into it. So this is the C5 right here, and it'll cut down into it, and you can see what's left here, that little triangle at the bottom. So this is the last 2, C5 here, a C5 here, the table, and we're done. And these are the angles we're cutting at. And our sponge tells us where we're at, because if you don't have that sponge there, you're just grabbing numbers, you are gonna mess up. So you have to have something here, a piece of paper, whatever, but a sponge is multi-purpose because you can clean things as you go, as water is flying everywhere. These are our final 2 facets coming in at 1200 grit, and we'll polish them with 8000 and 60,000. And the meet point is the lower tiny triangle right there that's lighting up. 8000 will get us there. And the top looks lopsided because when we cut it on the wet saw, it didn't cut exactly straight. But the table, when that gets leveled, it'll even everything out. So we're at the very end, guys. Pretty cool looking stone, something different. Okay, we've got our final set of facets polished. And now we'll bring in the tabling tool and clean up the table. This is what the tabling tool looks like, and if it gets stuck on the lap, it'll pop up. You can put this at 90 degrees and shoot straight down, but if it gets stuck, it's gonna pop the stone off the top. So that's why we use this, all right? If you want to support the channel, you can always buy a cut stone or a rough stone off our website, www.minesandmountains.com. That helps support the channel. These videos take about a day and a half, 1 day to cut the stone and another half of a day to edit the video. So that's in a day and a half every week. We put out 1 video every Wednesday at 8 a.m. So any support would be helpful because YouTube does not pay the bills. So in this step, make sure you got plenty of water going. You do not want to throw the stone off the top at this point, okay? We got our angle at 45 degrees here, and here we go. We're not going to go past the center point. You can throw the stone off the top over there. It can get caught on the other side. So we're going to play it safe. So we'll never get this dopped up right again. It'll never be perfect again. Then our center points and stuff will be lopsided with the table being slightly off. So we do not want to throw it at this point. So we'll do it. We'll keep checking it and we'll get it level and then we'll polish it up. Okay, so the table is level, but in the top right corner, you can see it's still not level there. So even if you cut into your facet slightly, you have to, because this part of the stone sticks up. This is what everyone will be looking at. you can't have that table like that no matter what. So just got to keep grinding and get through that. We've got our table polished to 60,000 grit. Everything's looking good. We got rid of that inclusion in the top right-hand corner. So let's get it on the scale and see how much this thing weighs. All right, we have our stone already in the case, blinging, looking beautiful. It's available on minesandmountains.com, and let's weigh it up. All right, so $12 carats. Oh, it's blinged. Boom, too. That looks good, all right? Here it comes.
Do monkeys have fake fingerprints?